It's a rough night on the lake. Waves are crashing. The wind is howling. You're taking on water. Your boat is about to sink. And the guy you invited to come along, whose name is Jesus, is sound asleep in the back of the boat. What would you do? How would you feel? Would you wake him up? Would you call out to him? Would you just give up and say, "Hey, it's been a good run, but here goes nothing"? Well, that's exactly what happened one night when Jesus invited his 12 disciples to hop in the boat and go to the other side of the lake. Let's pick up the story in Mark chapter 4, verse 35. Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." So they left the crowd behind, got into the boat, and he himself got into the boat. Now it was evening, and the lake was getting rough. The winds were high, and the waves were crashing into the boat, threatening to swamp it. Meanwhile, Jesus was in the back of the boat sleeping on a cushion. At this point, I imagine the disciples are starting to panic a little bit. They're fighting to keep the boat upright. Water is sloshing in, and they're yelling to Jesus, "Hey, don't you care that we're drowning?" And he wakes up and he rebukes the wind, and he speaks to the waves, and he says, "Quiet, be still." And immediately, the wind and the waves obeyed him. There was a great calm. It was as though the storm had never been there at all. And then Jesus turns to his disciples, who are absolutely terrified, and he asks them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Let me ask you, what would you do if you were in this situation? What would your reaction be? Would you have enough faith to sleep through the storm, knowing that Jesus is in the boat with you? Would you be scared out of your wits like the disciples, or maybe something in between? Well, let's think about what was happening here. First of all, the storm was real. The disciples were unimagining the waves crashing over the boat, or the wind tearing at their clothes, or the rain pouring down on them, or the lightning flashing and the thunder booming. This was a real storm. Second, their fear was also real. They weren't pretending to be scared. They were genuinely terrified that they were going to die. And third, so was Jesus' authority. He wasn't just some religious teacher who had a magical way with words. He actually had the power to calm the storm, because he had the power over the storm. He could speak into the chaos and bring about peace. And that's exactly what he did. Now, why is this important for us to know? Because sometimes in life, things get really chaotic. Sometimes the waves of life crash over us and threaten to knock us off our feet. Sometimes the winds of change blow and try to steal our peace. Sometimes storms come into our lives and we feel like we're losing control. But if we're honest, sometimes we invite those storms in because we think we can handle them. Other times they sweep across our path unexpectedly and we're not prepared for them. But whatever the case may be, the truth is this: Jesus is in the boat with you. You might not feel it in the moment, but he's there. And he speaks peace into the chaos. He commands the storms with his voice. So when your life feels like it's spinning out of control, when you're smack dab in the middle of a raging storm, just remember this: Jesus speaks peace into chaos. He calms the raging waters with just a word, and that same peace can come into your heart if you just invite him in. Right now, I want you to close your eyes and picture yourself in that boat with Jesus. Imagine the wind and the waves crashing around you. And right in the middle of that, picture yourself with a smile on your face, leaning back against Jesus, knowing that he has everything under control. Maybe you need to ask him to come into your boat right now and calm the waters. Or maybe you just need to remind yourself that he's already there. Either way, know this: Jesus speaks peace into chaos, commands the storms with his voice. And for you who believe, there is peace even in the raging storm. Well, that's it today from Inside the Verses. Please subscribe and share this with your friends. Also, we'd love to hear from you. What's your biggest takeaway from this message? Just post that in the comments section below. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. Well, until next time, thanks for joining us, and remember, Jesus speaks peace into chaos.